evening, everyone. It is Sue Geelan back again doing a live. Just wanting to, sort of touch base and sort of say how's your week been. So if anybody wants to put in the comment or anything like this, that would be really, really great. I really hope you're getting a lot of information, good information about with these lives. Please, if you want to DM me, direct message me, I would really love to hear from you. If you want to look at any of my social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, I'm also have a YouTube channel that all these videos are up there for you to see, and many others. So guys, I just want to be able to, sort of come to you and sort of really assure you that, if you're really struggling in your relationship, that divorce is not the only answer. Okay, it's not the only answer. Obviously, if you can, get it. Seek help before things start to go pear-shaped, that'd be great. But even if you're at your final tether and you do really love each other, but you just can't seem to make it work, then please, before you kind of go down that divorce route, please come and have a talk with me. You can at my give me an email, and please reach out, because one of the things is that you don't, I can really, really sort of say, you don't have to go down that path. And I just want to reassure you of that fact. So what's happening tonight? Well, tonight we're sort of continuing about, with relationships. We had a sort of session on relationships as a whole, and the 5 killers of relationships. And this week we're now talking about connection. And one of the things, that I suppose, I want to sort of show you, if I can get my U-boot, is that, can you sort of see my logo here? This logo here, now there is a story around that. And the story is that when I started looking into relationships in my teenage years, I kind of likened having a relationship as when you first get into one, you're a tiny bud, okay? And it needs what I call my 3 C's for this baby bud to bloom and grow into a beautiful, amazing flower, which can be a blessing to yourselves and to the people around you. And so my 3 C's are connection, consideration, and communication. And we need these 3, just like a plant or a flower needs, soil, air, water to survive. You need these 3 C's, connection, consideration, and communication, to be able to thrive and grow. And that is what the art of this series is, the art of thriving together, all right, is using, this information that I'm giving you to be able to, sort of change the trajectory of your relationship and to get you to a place that you want to be and you want to live. And I'm hoping, you will get to do that. If not, if you can't do it by yourself, then hey, I'm here. So tonight we're actually going to now focus on the connection, and let's looking at what is connection and how do we get it, and the impact that it has on us, and barriers to connection, and all this sort of stuff. So hey, hang out with me tonight. Again, if you have any comments, please put them in the comment section wherever you are on the social media. Sit back and enjoy, and I hope I can give you some really, really good value tonight. Okay, So let's dive right into the heart of the matter, shall we? Which is, connection, or more specifically, emotional connection. Because in our relationships, we have three major connections. We have a mental connection, an emotional connection, and the physical connection. And some people you have zero, which is the strangers out there. Some people you have one or two, which is friends or acquaintances. But it's only in your romantic relationship that you have all three. And which means it's hugely, hugely important. So let's have a look at what it is. Now, I've talked about, I think that I've talked about my car analogy. Well, I'm continuing that vein. And let's imagine that your relationship is a car, a vehicle. Your connection, your emotional connection to each other is the engine. And without it, you are just pushing a stationary vehicle, because it's not going to, no. So no matter how shiny it is on the outside, no matter how plush it is on the inside type of thing, if you don't have emotional connection, then this vehicle is going nowhere. It is that core part of your relationship that keeps everything running smoothly and keeping going forward. So what exactly is emotional connection? Well, it's the bond that ties you and your partner together. I know love does, and love is the emotion that kind of that connection then feeds into. But it's at a deeper level. It's also, what it means is that it's about feeling understood. It's about feeling valued, and both are intimately linked. It's a time when you can share your innermost thoughts, fears, and dreams without judgment or fear of rejection, because oftentimes your partner is on your side. And connection is crucial because it really, really forms the bedrock of any intimacy, right? And I've talked about it before that for us women, okay, and I know, the men might sort of say, hey, you're not going into this, but for us women, we kind of need the mental connection in order for the emotions to be activated. And we need the emotions to really influence the physical, okay? To influence the physical. And if you have, so this is kind of what men is usually on the other side. They usually need the physical to get the emotional, to get the mental, okay? And so we need to be able to balance that in the way between the two, I suppose, the two genders. So when you have a strong emotional, bond, it's more likely that you can trust each other, you offer and receive support, and it allows you to weather life storms together, because, let's admit it, life can be very stormy at times. And if, again, going back to the car analogy, that it's almost like it's like a built-in GPS system for navigating the relationship landscape, guiding you both to mutual understanding and closeness. And that's what it's supposed to be, right? So let's have a look at the impact of connection. So the impact really sort of looks at intimacy, trust, and mutual support. So with a strong emotional connection, well, actually, let me stop that for a minute, because let me sort of give you a pictorial on what this really looks like. Okay, because a client came in and asked me, they were here and they just said, well, look, you've talked about relationship, now we're getting on to connection. said, what is the difference between relationship and connection? And I said, funny you should ask that. I don't know. So I went away and found out. All right. And here's what it is. Connection, okay, is often, connection is about doing, and it's about an action that is usually time constrained. All right. So what does that look like? Okay. When we have a conversation, we're connecting. When we, hug or kiss or do anything physical, we connect. When we laugh together, we connect. When we play together, when we spend time together, when we, do a project together, when we have dinner together, when we go out on dates together, you're doing all these little time constrained action doings, okay? But relationship emerges over time with lots of repeated connections, okay? So does that kind of make sense with that? And usually kind of what I sort of say is that, when we have an issue, when we sort of go down a pathway that will lead to separation and divorce, then oftentimes we're not doing these connections. We're not spending time together. We're not talking, my 40s, we're not spending time. We're not talking. We're not touching, and we're not being a team. All right. So when we're not doing that, then these don't exist. And if we don't exist, then the relationship will just get shallow until you become flatmates, just sharing a house together, ships in the night. All right. I hope this makes sense, because the more that you guys can connect on different things and different projects and, having fun, the more and the deeper and the stronger will be your relationship, and therefore your bond between the two of you. Okay, that's the impact that it has, that connection has on literally everything, and which is why it's the core of our relationship. So, so what does it do? So having a strong emotional connection literally fosters, like genuine intimacy. It's not about the physical closeness, but it's about the emotions. We can get physically close to people, but we don't often get emotionally close to people. And sometimes that emotional closeness may not even be with your partner, or you may not even have that closeness with your partner, which is hence why, you're either you're going to a counselor, or, that your relationship is not where you want it to be. So when you feel connected, you're more open to sharing your feelings. You're more open to being vulnerable, which then deepens the bond, and therefore the relationship of your relationship. Let's look at trust. Trust is a big thing, okay? And trust is like the glue that holds your relationship together, right? It's like the glue. Because when you are emotionally connected, trust flows naturally. It just becomes, when you're close to someone, trust flows naturally, because you know that your partner understands and actually has your back. And that's what being in a relationship does, is that with everyone else in the world, you may have, close relationships with parents or siblings or, people like that, right? But they have their own families. They have their own lives. Who do you have apart from the partner that you've chosen to love and to be together? Okay. And that's, and it's therefore it then becomes, you two together, thriving together, because it's you two literally against the rest of the world. And trust is that feeling of just flowing naturally, because they understand you, your partner understands you and has your back. And it's a two-way street then, because you then feel safe to open up, and obviously then your partner feels safe as well. And that's where real connections can be. Like mutual support, life isn't a smooth ride. What I call, we get boulders that kind of get smack dab in the middle of our lives. And then it's during these tough times, that when you have a strong connection with your partner, it means that you can rely on each other for help and support. One becomes the rock and the other one just grabs hold of to keep them afloat. And then when the other happens, you become the rock and they can, kind of hold on to you when the times are tough. And it's knowing that no matter what happens, that you have someone that truly gets you and that is there to help you through. And that's what a good relationship can be. It's not about control. It's not about you taking over someone else's lives. It's about you guys choosing to share your lives together. Okay. Is this making sense, guys? I'm hoping that it is. All right. So let me give you a little story that I had a client that came in here, and they seem to always have a disagreement about the smallest things. And this particular time, it was about what we're going to have for dinner. All right. Now, it wasn't just a dinner dispute of an argument about what they're going to have. No. This was a doozy of a fight. The biggest one, not the biggest one, but a really big fight. And it all started with that he wanted pizza and she wanted sushi. And that sounds simple, right? No. This became an epic saga, all right, that just had so much misunderstandings. She thought that he was secretly planning to sabotage her diet because she was, a bit of on a diet, wanted to lose some weight, and, sort of pizza and sushi, and then he thought that she was overreacting to his pizza passion, so to speak. Look, they ended up spending the whole evening in virtually separate rooms almost. They were grumbling, about how they have these ridiculous arguments. And yet they actually both really love sushi and they both really love, pizza. He just didn't want to admit it, and she was trying to save face. So, it seems funny, right? It's sort of like, why would you fight over this? But we do, guys, we do. And this is where it's sad, because, it wasn't even fighting about, sushi or pizza. That was just the catalyst. The symptom was the fact that they were disconnected, right? And so that anything that you can see, and I usually use, and again, I kind of go back to, back to the iceberg effect. Okay, here's water, there's the tip of the iceberg, and underneath every iceberg is a huge big block of ice, right, that sort of drives the top little bit. And so every time I sort of saying is that relationships, this is the bit that we can see, the fight about pizza and sushi. That's the bit here. All right. And that's what we tend to fight over, the surfacey stuff that we can see. But what's really happening is that there is something deeper and wrong with the relationship underneath. And in order to fix this, you have to fix the relationship as a whole. Okay? And that's what I do in terms of this, is to try and, just to say, look, let's just pin these surfacey stuff. And I know they're painful and I know they're hurting. And let's dig deep and change this relationship. Create a new one, right? Create a new iceberg. And then all these symptoms here will often just go away. Okay? Will literally just often go away. Okay? So, and yet this is what we do all the time, folks. This is what we do all the time, is that we fight about the small stuff, the surfacey stuff. But because they are surfacey and because there is deep unhappiness underneath, it just escalates and just blown so much out of proportion. So let's let's understand what connection is, and, let's sort of dig in and let's sort of see what makes strong emotional connections tick. All right. And any of these, sort of components that I'm going to sort of look at, it's almost like they are an essential ingredient to your, your recipe for, deep, fulfilling relationships. Each one, as it were, adds flavor, it adds substance, and that then creates that special bond that you have between the two of you. So let's have a look at emotional intimacy, right? Where we share thoughts, feelings openly. Now, emotional intimacy is the heart of connection, because it's about being open with your partner, like just, sharing not just or not only the good stuff, but also the messy, the unpredictable, the vulnerable bits. Because if we see our partner as on our side, then we can be vulnerable to them, because they know that, we know that they've got our back. Okay. Let's sort of think that, let's imagine that you are holding your inner box, as it were, and it's filled with your thoughts, your fears, your dreams. Emotional intimacy is about being able to feel safe to hand that box over to your partner and trust them with its contents. That's what it is. It's like your partner and you become the guardians of each other's souls. This box, all your vulnerability, all the bits that make you beautiful and unique and stuff like this, you're sort of saying, and that's what we're doing when we have emotional commitment to each other and so forth, that you giving your box to your partner and sort of saying, hey, I trust you with these contents, look after them. And why is this so crucial? It's so crucial is that when you share your inner world, you allow your partner to truly, truly understand you. And they would probably then be the only person on the planet who truly understands you. Because oftentimes, you sort of say, yeah, but we have a good relationship with our parents. Well, you wouldn't share, I know I wouldn't share your vulnerability to your mum or dad. It's sort of like, yeah, nah. But you can share them with your partner, and that's why your relationship becomes so amazing when we put the good stuff in place, because you have that one person who gets you, right? Who truly understands you. And this transparency sort of fosters the closeness that you have, the trust. It's almost like we're building a bridge between your hearts, and the more you share, the stronger the bridge. And that's like this one. The more you share, the more you connect with one another. The more you have fun, the more you play, the more you are open and vulnerable. The bridge to that beautiful relationship will become much stronger, and then it will be easy to traverse the ups and downs of life together. All right. So Yeah. So the other thing is that, and again, it's sort of a story, and I suppose I've told you before, but there was this guy talking to a friend, and he was complaining about his wife and the fact that she always wanted to talk about the relationship. He said, oh, isn't it enough that we are in a relationship? Why do we need to talk about it? And fortunately, he did have an epiphany, and he realized that the conversation is the relationship. Okay, if you don't have conversations, not just surfacey stuff, how's your day, that type of thing. It's the deeper stuff, the sharing of your vulnerability, so forth. And, again, effective communication, right, becomes the vehicle that drives the emotional intimacy. So if the emotional connection or the emotional intimacy was the engine, then communication is the vehicle. Okay, it's the shiny stuff. But it's about truly, listening and responding in a way that shows that you understand and care. So let's have a look. There is kind of 3 things to effective communication: active listening, empathy, and clear expression. Okay, so let's have a look at the 3. How do we actively listen? Well, that means putting away your phone, guys. Right? If you want to communicate, then have the phone nowhere near you, because if they're talking and you feel a buzz in your hand or something like this, you're more than likely to sort of pick it up and look at it, and that just destroys that intimate moment, right? That communication moment. So put away your phone, make eye contact, okay, and really tune in, right, when your partner is speaking. And oftentimes I sort of say to my, my clients, I said, look, be curious about each other, right? Be curious, because you know what you know, but you don't know what your partner knows. And if you sort of said, oh, well, look, we've been together for, 20 years, 30 years and so forth, we know everything about them. No, you don't. Right? Because every day, both of you are moving and growing in different ways. You have different experiences, different thoughts, different ideas. And if you're not keeping up, you can get to a point where you're so far apart of each other that you sort of go, what are you doing way over there? Because you haven't talked. You've been talking, surfacey level, that you really haven't sort of sat and listened to a good conversation with your partner. Because again, when we first meet our partners, we have 5-hour conversations, and it literally goes like this. Okay, because time it just seems to vanishing. And these days, when life, the universe, and everything gets on, on us and so forth, it then becomes, like 30 minutes, and it feels like we're pulling teeth because we get on this surfacey stuff. Okay, and if you keep doing the surfacey stuff, then you just start to grow apart ever so slightly. But then that's when the disconnection comes in. Okay, so really tune into your partner in what they're speaking. Like, be fully present, be curious, showing that their words matter to you, that you're almost hanging off their, their thoughts and ideas, and, because you want to know, right? Because one of the things is that we become the witness in each other's lives. And how can we do that when we're not sharing our thoughts and ideas on a fairly regular basis? Okay. It's also about, practicing empathy. And, and empathy, I call, is about shoes. Right? It's being able to walk a mile in your partner's shoes, but without the blisters, right? Which is so much less painful. Right? Empathy is about understanding their feelings, their perspectives. Even if you don't necessarily agree to them, it's almost like when you have when you have empathy with your partner, you're kind of offering them a comforting hug when you really sort of connect with them. When you're being, when you have empathy for your partner, and then clear expression, okay, where we communicate our thoughts and our feelings honestly and directly. Oftentimes we beat around the bush and we make suggestions, we imply that our partners should do something. Guys, they're not going to pick up. And I think that's one of the things, because one of the things that Dave and I did well, and that because that became my fault. I can't read face or body language, okay? I just can't. And so if David was subtly asking me for something, a need that he has or anything like this, and if he subtly, it literally would go over my head, all right, way over my head. Then, so when we first kind of got together, one of the things is I sort of said to him, if you need anything from me, you have to ask me. Because if you do things subtly, I won't pick it up and you'll probably get ignored, right? Not because it's in my intention to, because I just won't see it. So assume that your partner won't see it either. If you have a need or a want, if you want to be listened, you want to spend more time with them, then simply come out and ask the question. Will you, spend more time with me tonight? Can we have a deeper conversation than we've been having? Okay? Because being able to communicate your thoughts and your feelings and your needs and your wants, don't use cryptic messages. Don't hint drop or something like this. Be clear about then there will be no misunderstanding, right? What you need and how you feel. And again, this feeds into that GPS that guides your partner through your emotional landscape, right? Because if you don't tell them what you think or feel, they're busy with their own stuff. They're way busy with their own stuff, right? And it's not as if they just don't see it. They probably just don't see it. And then we get upset and annoyed that you're ignoring me and all this sort of stuff. No. Be honest, be clear about your expression, okay? And then, look, let's respect one another. That's one of these things. Respect one another. Expect the individuality of each other. Expect the boundaries, right? Because your partner, there is no way that your partner can fulfill every one of your interests. No way. Mainly because they are opposites, right? And David has interest from me that I have no concept of. I mean, he likes talking politics, and he likes talking philosophy, and to me, over my head. All right. So he has to find other people to be able to talk that. Unfortunately, he has a son-in-law, Peter, who he can talk politics with. He's got my other daughter who can, Alexandra, she talks philosophy with him, which is good. Keep it in the family. So, if you assume that your partner is going to fill every one of your needs, guys, we are in for a big wake-up call, because they just can't, mainly because they're opposite to you, right? And therefore, you're putting undue pressure on them to fulfill a role that they will never be able to fulfill. And then you get angry and hurt because they're not listening to you, they're not taking interest in what you're doing, and so forth. I mean, obviously, yes, we can share. We can share what's happening. We can share, who we talk to and how we sort of, shared ideas with and stuff like this. Most definitely. But if your partner wants you to love fishing, because you love fishing, they might not like it, and they may start resenting you if you keep dragging them to fishing when they don't like it. All right? Are you guys hearing me here? Okay. So mutual respect then is the foundation that supports every other component of connection. When you respect one another, it's about honoring who they are as they are, their individuality, their opinions, their boundaries, their thoughts, their ideas. And it's about respecting and valuing them for who they are. All right? And I keep, using my suism, is the fact that we do fall in love with who they are. And we divorce or separate for what they do or don't do. So if they're not in the same interest, that's a doing. If they don't like the same things we like, that's a doing. Right? But your personality and character and who they fell in love with hasn't changed. Okay? So yeah, it's about honoring each other. It's about acknowledging that your partner, that one special person on the planet who loves you for you, is a unique person. They've got their own experience, their own preferences, their own needs that may be, as I said, different from yours. And respecting these differences and being able to resolve issues around these differences and setting healthy boundaries is the key to maintaining that healthy balance, in a loving relationship, a loving partnership. Okay. So, when respect is present, both parties or partners feel valued and understood. It then becomes a relationship that is grounded in equity and appreciation of each other, rather than trying to, compromise your true self to fit into, their opinion of you, or their ideal, or their idea of who you are and how you fit into their lives. Guys, it seems complicated, but it's not really. Okay, it's not really. But one of the other things, is like sharing our goals, like, playing together towards a common objective. That's what becoming a team is about. When you're a team, there is no I in team. One is not the leader and one's the subordinate. You are both equal parties in the team, and you both have different strengths, different weaknesses that complement each other. And when you have a shared goal, this is like a roadmap that guides you both on your journey together towards your happy ever after. Okay? All right? Is this making sense? Because, whether it's, when you work or play together towards these common objectives, whether they're big dreams, whether they're everyday aspirations, you're actually creating a sense of unity and purpose. And when we have a purpose, a goal that says we're going over there to our happier ever after, and that's where magic can happen. Because your life as an individual, as a me, and as a we, as a togetherness, right, can have so much greater meaning for you both. Right? It means that you can, you align your efforts, your energies. It's easier to support each other. It's easy to then celebrate your achievements together. It's not about, like with every vehicle, and we're going back to the vehicle. Now, the vehicle has 4 tires, a body, and an engine, okay? But the destination is different for every person. And that's the same thing, is that your relationship for everyone, all right, has the same guiding principles, but your destinations could be different. But the process to get there is the same. All right. So, and becomes about enjoying the journey together and helping and supporting one another. Whether it's like planning your dream vocation or managing your finances or building a family, or building a life together and a lifestyle together that you want, having common goals really strengthens the bond and then provides you with a sense of direction. Because if we're going there to our happy ever after, we don't become like a mouse on a wheel doing the same things we've always done and hope we're going to get there, because we're not. Okay. So how are we going? We're about 40 minutes in, and I hope you're valuing this, guys. So let's look at some barriers. What are some barriers to connection? Okay. We've laid the foundation or the groundwork for what makes a strong connection. So what are some of the roadblocks? And if we can recognize these roadblocks, then that is usually the first step in overcoming them and nurturing a more connected relationship. All right. And so one of the big things is that the biggest thing, we have busy lifestyles. All right. We've got work, we've got kids, we've got hobbies, we've got fitness, health stuff. We've got all these things demanding our attention. All right. And it becomes almost this roller coaster ride of endless to-do lists. All right. And responsibilities. Because you might have work commitments, you might have family obligations, you've got socials, activities, and this is why most couples feel as if they're literally like ships in the night, right? They just don't have it, and again, this busy lifestyle means that one of the 4 T's, time, we're not doing. And if we're not spending time, we're not in the vicinity to talk, we're not in the vicinity to touch, then how in the heck can we become a team? Just won't happen, right? When life gets hectic, finding time for each other can seem impossible, impossible. And that this, constant rush that we have in life of getting this done, getting that done, means that we miss these little moments of connection. We miss these. And then as we're missing these, the relationship that, will just start to get more shallow, more shallow, more shallow. And that's when we feel disconnected with one another. So busy lifestyles, big barrier. Communication breakdowns. Okay, we talked about the communication being the vehicle. Well, if you are having communication breakdown, misunderstanding, unresolved conflicts, then it's almost like using a phone without the signal, or getting into a vehicle and there's no tires. Okay. Some misunderstandings can turn a small issue into this full-blown argument, and then obviously the unresolved conflicts then start to create emotional distance. And that's the other one of our 4 T's. If our talk starts to become heated fights, oh, now I'm annoyed and angry. Do I want to spend time with you? Do I want to touch? Well, that's a hell no, that one. That's not going to happen. Then how can we become a team? Okay. And these ones here is usually a failure to address issues directly. We seem to be speaking the same language, but not really hearing each other. And oftentimes, because in conflict, when we have conflict in this, is that we never really solve the trigger that started it. Because let me sort of tell you that every fight, argument, shutdown that you have had with your partner started with a trigger. And every trigger has a solution. What we fight about is emotions, and emotions don't have solutions. Okay? That's what we fight about. And this is why we misunderstand each other. It's, it's sort of said, it's almost, reading different scripts of the same play. It's just not going to happen. It's going to end up with chaos. So again, it's, using the active listening. It's about, resolving, understanding, or recognizing what the trigger is and being able to find a solution for it. Okay. Then there's obviously external pressures, like financial issues, family pressures, even to an extent, kids, right? If you're a new parent, kids can be a major pressure, because they need us at this time when they've been newly born. And so this can create sort of tension and affect how you interact with one another. Okay. So if you're trying to have a heartfelt conversation while you're juggling financial statements, or you're dealing with a family crisis, or, you're trying to, emotionally connect, but you've got these external stresses just being so overwhelming, then, how can we do that? Right. It seems to be we just can't. Okay. And it's not realistic to expect that from us. So it's important to recognize these expressions, address them together, find a solution for them, how we're going to deal with this. And then just, it's you guys against the world. Just support one another in going through these challenges. This is just a challenge. And to realize that, everything will turn out all right when we get to the end of this challenge. Now, it becomes a way, if this is boulder, it becomes a way to how to push through it, how to climb over the top, how to dig underneath, how to get around the sides, because we're going to get to the other side. We're going to leave this stressor or this, crisis right where it is. Okay. And this is how you can, strengthen your connection and then build resilience in your relationship. Okay. So, how do we build this connection? Okay. Well, there are some tools, practical tools that we can use it. Obviously, active listening. How do we master that is give our full attention, put away distractions, get rid of the phones, make eye contact, and really sort of feel as if you are genuinely engaging. Reflect and validate, as in, if your partner sort of says, look, I'm feeling stressed at work, then, hey, you might be able to respond with something like, hey, it sounds that work has been really overwhelming for you lately. Are you okay? All right. It shows empathy. It shows validation when we reflect and validate. We ask, open-ended questions. A closed-ended question is just like a yes or no, which, what we need to do is encourage deeper conversations, and that is by asking open-ended questions. How did that make you feel? Rather than, do you feel okay? What do you think we could do about this? All right. This invites our partners to share more and helps you to understand their perspective just a little bit better. So active listening is about making your partner feel heard, valued, and again, it strengthens that emotional connection between the two. Now, another thing is that we can, appreciate, have appreciation rituals, like, small daily practice to, sort of show appreciation. It could be just fun stuff. It's sort of like, I suppose it's giving your partner a daily dose of relationship vitamins. They're simple but powerful ways to show, your partner that you value and love them. So here's a couple. And some, see if you can do these over the next week and surprise and just sort of see how much your partner responds to you. So maybe gratitude notes, like leaving little notes where your partner can find them, maybe on the fridge, in their bag, even a text. It can be sort of simply saying, look, thanks for making me coffee this morning. It really made my day. Or thanks for getting me, for me, because David loves his coffee. And if I get him milk for his coffee when he's run out, it kind of shows him that I notice and I love him enough to, to make sure he has his ritual cup of coffee in the morning. Compliments, like genuine compliments, hey, it might be, things that they do, or acknowledging them. Hey, I really liked how you handled that situation with the kids today. You're really amazing. Or, hey, I'm so proud of you in what you're doing in your work. I knew you could do this. You've got this, that type of thing. So always give compliments. And affection, just small affections in your daily routine, whether you greet each other with a quick kiss goodbye or a hello, whether you give them a hug. And one of the home plays that I have for my couples when they come in, one of their first day or their first homework or home play is you have to hug twice a day, 2 minutes by the clock. So I challenge you to do that with your partner for the next week or even the next month. You even use your phone to put an alarm, and that becomes hug time. Because when you're actually, in the act of just, in each other's presence, that you're just holding each other, it almost as if you're in a cocoon, a safe cocoon away from the world's precious. The world's just, and it's just the two of you. Okay. So, hey, you can leave a comment, if you do this, and leave a comment to sort of see how it felt and what difference that has made in your relationship. Having date nights and quality times together, always regularly connect, because if we don't put it in our calendars, okay, it just will not happen. Okay, because again, life, universe will come and so forth. We've got to literally make time for each other, and having a regular date night is not just for newlyweds. It's about courting your whole life, because maybe it's fun. Right? It's fun. And it's, and it's essential for any stage of your relationship. Okay. So, set aside specific times each week, month, for a date night. It doesn't need to be elaborate. It doesn't need to be expensive. It could be just coffee together. But it's basically just taking time for you guys to just spend and focus on each other. Now, it might be, to mix things up a bit. Sometimes we get in the same grind. So maybe it's trying a new activity, whether it's cooking a new recipe together, whether it's, just exploring a new local park, or taking dance classes, or, just any new experience to rekindle the spark. And one of the things is being present, during these times, focus on each other. Get rid of your phones, right? Put them on silence, actually even turn them off, without distractions, and enjoy every moment as you connect with each other's company. Well, we're kind of coming up to the to the end. So let's just have a look at some actionable steps that we can take. Consistency is the key. Okay, because if we are consistently spending time, then our relationship here is going to get deeper and stronger. So it's just not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process that just happens to be fun. And if it's fun, we should do more of it. It is the key to making, lasting improvements in your relationship. it's about just, connecting or building, activities into your routine. Okay. So regular check-ins, make it a habit of checking in, making a habit of resolving conflict. Keep those lines of communication open. Again, small gestures, actively listening, spending time together, a kiss before we go, as we're leaving, as we're coming home. Set reminders in our calendars to remind us to practice these things that we've learned. But set goals, right? Together you can sort of set goals, even for yourself. As an individual, you set your own goals, but make it actionable goals. Be specific. That is the SMART goals. Be specific. Set a measurable targets. Make it achievable, and set a time frame. Okay, that's what we can do. So finally, I want to sort of end is encouragement and support. It's that, look, you remember, you don't have to navigate this journey alone. Ongoing support can literally make all the difference. And here's how you find it. It's, look, I invite you to consider further resources such as my Loving We program, which offers an in-depth strategies for couples to strengthen their connection, to build a new relationship. So this could be a project for you for 10 weeks, to be able to use that time to really connect with one another and change the trajectory of your pathway to start the journey towards your happier ever after. Engaging communities or groups. And then, look, stay connected. Look, follow me through my website, through my social medias. Look, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I do have a YouTube channel. And guys, if you've got kids, in my YouTube channel under Metaneo Counselling, I have Stories with Sue. So if you want your kids to read books with me, reading them to them, that is something that you could use with your kids to sort of stay connected with as a family. Have a TV and sit together as a family and listen to stories and so forth. So yeah, reach out, and stay connected. And I hope that you will. That you can make some really positive changes in your relationship. And thank you for joining with me today. Let's help you on. You're not alone. I'm here to support you every step of the way. So reach out, connect with me, and hey, let's make this happen, and let's get you on your journey to your happier ever after. Okay. So guys, I will end it there. Again, thank you for joining me. And listen, have a wonderful week. We will be back here next week for next week. And next week is my second C, which is consideration. So we'll be doing that. So I hope you've enjoyed tonight. And I look forward to seeing you next week. And again, I'm here to, help and support you through in your journey to, really have a strong, loving, an amazing relationship where you can thrive together. Good night, guys. Take care and have a great week.